Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the altcoin show, coming at you daily, 6 days a week from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. So the question is altcoin season already over? Was that it? What's happening with the altcoin market as Bitcoin dominance has surged? We're going to look at some of those questions. We're going to look at some historical data and some charts. But before we do that, you know what I'm going to say next? Smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people and does help support the channel. And of course, as always, the comments. Love those kind words that you leave. You take the time to write them. I take the time to read them. So much appreciation there. And those of you who do leave questions in the comment section, I do look to get back to those as soon as I am able to, with the emphasis on as soon as I am able to. And then those of you who would like to join me in the Stocks with Josh Discord, there is a link below in the description of this video. There might be a little more button that you have to click first. It'll pop out the description. And I am there with the most amazing people on the planet there in the crypto channel. There's also the meme coin channel, the AKA the party zone. And of course, I have my own Crown Traders channel there as well, where I'm sharing education insights, some of my trade setups, and of course, resources and entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? And so as we jump in, we have to ask ourselves the question, what on earth is going on with the altcoin market? And as you can see here, Bitcoin from Mustache, El Crypto Professor, December 2020 versus Bitcoin in December 2024. The rest of the year is dominated by Bitcoin. And from January 2025, the biggest altcoin season in years begins. Chart looks primed. And this does line up with historical data. So I did a little bit of digging. And what I've generally found is that, for example, in 2020, altcoins basically kind of went sideways. They opened at 212 billion market cap, and they closed at 220 billion market cap, and there was a high of 237 billion market cap. So even though there was a little bit of a Bitcoin dominance that dropped, and it dropped below the 200 EMA on the daily, it's then jumped back above this, and altcoins have kind of bled out, gone sideways in December. Historically, Bitcoin is stealing the show as part of the Bitcoin Christmas rally that we've been talking about. And then what we've seen then is coming into January of 2021 is that the overall crypto market, and when I talk about the overall crypto market, I'm talking every coin except for Bitcoin. So when I'm talking about altcoin season, that includes meme coins and AI coins and all kinds of different coins out there. And so essentially in January, obviously it closed in 220 billion in December. Obviously it's going to open in January 220 billion, and then the close was a 360 billion. So there's where the jump happened, with a high of 417 billion, and then it kind of continued on from there through to April, and then we saw a bit of a capitulation there, and some altcoins set their all-time highs in April when Bitcoin went and set its all-time high in November, that cycle all-time high, I mean. And there were some altcoins, of course, like Solana and stuff that set their all-time highs around the same time as Bitcoin there. And so as we can see, but looking at, and we're going to jump into Bitcoin dominance and some of the totals there in a moment, but Bitcoin dominance actually peaked on the 28th of December 2020. So there was a really strong Bitcoin surge right up until around the 28th, and that was the peak. And therefore, from there, altcoins kind of became the main show in town for a short period of time, of course, until April. Now, of course, Bitcoin dominance never regained that top, and never has since, by the way. So, but it didn't mean that Bitcoin didn't come back down to the 30K region after a big April sell-off, and then resurge and hit new heights in November of 2021. So this altcoin season indicator that sometimes we've looked at, it's not always the best indicator in my opinion, because really the best times to have been buying altcoins is down here, and the best times to be selling them is on the way up and around here. And as you see, we've come back down a little bit, and we could just kind of go a little bit sideways here, maybe find some support. I'm not sure if we'll come all the way down to here. That would be a little bit of a shock, especially when it's meant to take off again. So this could be a little bit of a pause in the market, and is a place that I've started dollar cost averaging into some of those altcoins. I talked about Solana the other day, and Sui and Tau and Banana Gun and some of the others that I have been dollar cost averaging into, and we'll continue to do some more shows on that over the coming days, leading into what if history repeats. And remember, if history repeats, that we see that January surge in altcoins and Bitcoin dominance top out. So now we're going to be talking about when is Bitcoin dominance going to top out in this cycle. And I'm going to gather some more historical data from other cycles as well to see if we can see if there is a pattern that has emerged for Bitcoin dominance and the overall altcoin markets. We can't go back too far for altcoins though, because altcoins, Bitcoin was around well before altcoins came into play. And so we can just go back a little bit there. But let's just have a look first of all at Bitcoin dominance, for example. And what we saw here was a big sell-off in Bitcoin dominance, a big sell-off, but a really big drop in Bitcoin dominance. This really surged the altcoins. Now we're in altcoin season, and it's always debatable as when does altcoin season really begin. Historically, it's going to be January. I think this was just a little bit of a prelude. The opening scene, the trailer, I don't know what you want to call it, a preview to what alt season could look a little bit like. But really, until we drop below the 200 EMA on the daily, it's going to be bearish for altcoins. So if you're looking at your meme coin portfolio, your AI portfolio, your layer one blockchain portfolio, whatever category of altcoins that you are in, maybe you're trading them all. This means that there is money flowing into Bitcoin and out of altcoins, or more money is flowing into Bitcoin and less into altcoins. And so this is what we're seeing here. Now, the 50-day moving averages here. We have the tribal trades trend line that we might just look at that. I wouldn't be surprised if we came up and touched this here. And if we were to break above that, that would be very savage for alts. But maybe we reject off there, come back down around. I'd like to see the 50 go below the 200. So we could see a bit of a death cross on the Bitcoin dominance, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the 50-day moving average go below this teal light blue line, the 200 simple moving average. There's the 200 EMA on the daily. It can go below that as well. And that is a lagging indicator, of course. So it seems like this is going to happen as this continues to come down. This is slowly inching up. This is slowly inching down. And then that would signal, and then of course Bitcoin dominance to be under all three. So it's kind of like a lot of the altcoin setups that I gave in reverse. And you flip it and say, hey, listen, we've got the blue, the 50-day moving average was going to cross above the 200 to the top, and then all three of these kind of come together, and then there's a breakout. Well, this is where it's going to break down. So I'm showing you now what's going to happen in the future with altcoins. We can clearly see that this is the 50-day moving average is coming down. The 200 simple moving is moving up. That is bullish for altcoins and bearish for Bitcoin dominance, and particularly when it drops back below. So we want to see Bitcoin dominance below not only the 50-day moving average, but also the 200 EMA on the daily and the 200 simple moving average as well. And we want to see the 50-day moving average cross below the 200 simple moving average. Now, if we flip to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that currently it found a little bit of broke above the 200 EMA on the 4-hour and it found support momentarily, and now it's rejecting there and below. And we're hoping just to see this continue to drop to the downside. But the daily time frame is really the time frame that I'm looking for there, and so I think we can see that play out. And we did see that with Bitcoin to the upside. If you look and see where the big breakout happened, you can see where the 50-day moving average crossed that and created a golden cross here. Okay, and that's what we're looking to see. And then look what happened when this was the perfect buying opportunity there, where Bitcoin was right in amongst the three moving averages. All were kind of combined together. Then we had the golden cross there, and look what Bitcoin has done since, and it's above all these three moving averages. So this is what we're looking to see for Bitcoin dominance, but in reverse, where Bitcoin dominance does actually that we see the death cross instead of a golden cross for Bitcoin dominance, and then altcoin season can really have a true altcoin season, which historically has started in that January time frame of 2021 where it started, well, 2025. History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. When do you think we're going to see that happen? When is Bitcoin dominance going to top? When is the alts going to break out? When is Bitcoin dominance going to break below all three of these moving averages again? It did do so for a short time there, and it rejected initially, and then it retested and went up. But we really do need to see the 50-day moving average drop below the 200 simple. So keep this chart. It's just BTC.D, or you can just type in Bitcoin dominance, add that to your chart, and keep an eye on when this drops below all three, but also when the 50-day moving average drops below the 200 simple moving average there. All right, let's look at some of the altcoin indexes such as Total 3. Now, Total 3 is also one that you should just be able to type in Total 2, and Total 2 is all altcoins excluding Bitcoin. And what you do see here is you do see the altcoin market there just going sideways, really, like it did in December of 2020. Total 2 opened at 212, closed at 220 and a high of 237. This just looks like a lot of sideways chop. Sometimes you got to really pick your trades in there and be careful, but just generally being a lot of dumpy sideways action, and Bitcoin takes the center stage on there. Now, Total 3 is the entire altcoin market minus Ethereum and Bitcoin. And the chart honestly just looks the same, just sideways chop. Nothing much going on there, waiting for that potential breakout in that general time. As we go into the others chart, and again, you can add this others. What are the others? Others are that it's the top 10 out of the market, and it's just the rest of the others. So, coins like Solana and BNB have been removed from this total. The top 10 in crypto market capitalization is there, and this is the others there, and it's obviously the small, only at 402 billion right there. And you can see again, almost identical, probably a little bit worse off there. The lower caps take more of the beating, and that's generally how it goes. When there are drops, historically, the larger caps coins, they tend to do better because they're larger. They take more money to move the price. The middle caps don't get hit as much, and the low cap markets, new coins or meme coins, can get hit the absolute hardest. And that's why we're seeing a lot of different red across the different sectors to different degrees there. And so it's just really important to understand. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be identifying, over this before Christmas time, what are the altcoins that I want to be positioned in, because in January things could take off and then never come back to those prices again. That's what I found. Will not come back to those prices, at least until the bear market, but may not come back to those prices in the bull run. Of course, remember, altcoins last time, some of them topped out in April. Okay, and so they may come back very quickly to those prices that you bought them in December or earlier, and that not necessarily is a good time to buy the dip. Sometimes it's just good to be out, and I really do hope to be out of a high percentage of my altcoin positions before, in case some of those altcoins never make another new all-time high. And it can happen. We don't know if we're going to see the same kind of thing where we go up and then we top out in April or May, or last year we topped out in March. This year we topped out in March, and really it was a long period of consolidation before it took off again. And so we just have to be really mindful of these things and not just be thinking, well, I'm going to sell my altcoins when Bitcoin tops out. It might be too late by then, and your altcoin may have already topped out by then. Okay, so we might see a situation last time where we had a big sell-off, not just Bitcoin, but all the altcoins, and then there was some time of downside, and then it took off again. The market took off again. I believe it might have been in July. I'd have to check that. So it was a couple of months that just down there, and then May and June, I think, were pretty rough months, and then either took off in June or July and then soared up. I think there was a slight correction in September, and then we topped out in November. Is history going to repeat? Are we going to top out in November again? Maybe October, maybe September. Maybe the whole market tops out earlier than we can expect. We can only be as prepared as we can be, and this is why it's so important to make sure that you're taking profits and you have a strategy for taking profits on the way up, so you don't get wrecked at the top and you haven't taken money off the table, and then you don't have anything to show for this bull run. Okay, so we'll be covering more videos on that, on profit taking, on what I'm buying at the moment, and some setups and some altcoins. And as we go further into December, this Christmas rally for Bitcoin up into Christmas, and then we'll be looking at Bitcoin dominance. We'll be looking for altcoin season. We'll be looking for these total 2, 3, and the others charts. We'll be having a close eye on those. And let's hope that we do. We do want to see history repeat. We do want to see a full-blown alt season come January in full flight there. And of course, there is the market sell-off usually that happens in the first week of January for Bitcoin. And I did cover that in my Bitcoin video earlier today. So if you haven't seen that, check that out, where there usually is a bit of a drop there as people, I guess generally seems that people will want to lock in their profits in the new year and not have it a taxable event for the current year of 2024. That's my reasoning anyway. But again, as always, thanks so much for watching. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers. We're very close. By the time you watch this video, maybe we will be at 10,000 subscribers. And I've said in my previous videos, as soon as we do break through that 10,000 subscriber mark, there is some giveaways that I have planned for the community here. So stay tuned for that. And as always, until the next episode, happy trading.